Is Echo too woke? No, it isn't. Sorry if that's a spoiler. I guess you can stop watching the video now. Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a licensing expert with a master's degree in acting and co-host of the Media Lunch Break podcast. Spoilers ahead for Marvel's latest series on Disney+, Echo. There's your warning. We're about to spoil a lot of stuff, so get out of here if you don't want anything spoiled. I was originally planning on making a video about all of the difficulties that Echo had during production. There were a lot of issues. Stuff was delayed, there were a lot of reshoots, writers and directors were switched in and out. It was a difficult process. But while trying to find articles and videos on that subject, I instead spent hours wading through a swamp of trolls crying into a camera about how the show is too woke. So let's get into our topic for today. What does woke even mean? I want you all to know that I looked it up on Urban Dictionary, and this is about to sound like the beginning of the weirdest best man speech ever. Urban Dictionary defines woke as an umbrella term for individuals who are engrossed by social justice and think of themselves as saviors with a moral high ground, but remain willfully ignorant to the irrationality of their claims and the problems they create. These individuals give special treatment to certain minorities in hopes of ending racism and perpetuate mental illnesses as the norm. I'm just going to ignore that last part because I think they're coyly referring to people whose genders differ from what they were assigned at birth. And gender fluidity is widely acknowledged by the scientific community as being a harmless part of individualism and hasn't been considered a mental illness since the DSM-5 was released in May of 2013. That was over 10 years ago. Like, gay marriage was illegal in the US, the word selfie wasn't in the dictionary, and the DCEU didn't even exist yet. Like, at all. There's no Man of Steel, no Batman vs. Superman, no Wonder Woman, none of it, so don't give me that shit. But also, you want a definition of a series that is woke by that definition? I'll give you one. Blue Eye Samurai. Blue Eye Samurai is a series that premiered on Netflix shortly before Echo premiered on Disney+. It has a 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 96% audience score. It has an 8.8 out of 10 on IMDb and an audience rating summary of 4.7 out of 5 on Google. It's really good. But by the definition provided, it's woke. And not just the creators, the main character, too. Our hero is on a path to justify her existence for being a minority after she spent her entire life being treated differently because of it. She is engrossed in social justice and literally thinks of herself as a savior with moral high ground. It's about as woke as you can get. Alright, so they went woke. Did they go broke? Nope. A second season was announced just over a month after the series first premiered on Netflix. So clearly having a focus on social injustice isn't an automatic disqualifier for high-quality content. So Echo is good, right? No, but not because it's too woke. In fact, there's an argument to be made that maybe it doesn't go woke enough. Like, instead of relying on the truth of what it means to be a Native American, to be descended from the first people to live on this continent, instead of showing how the thought of your ancestors and the pride you take in who you are can give you confidence, determination, tenacity, integrity, they just give her superpowers. Like, aren't you trying to get the message across that anyone can be a superhero? It doesn't matter if you're an amputee or deaf or you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You can do incredible things because you're an incredible person as you are. Oh no, wait, she's magic. Sorry. In fact, everyone on the press circuit kept talking about how important this show is for that very reason. But like, if it's so important, why did you only give it 5 episodes? And actually, the first episode is really just a recap made mostly with existing footage, so like 4.5 episodes. And honestly, Echo is plagued with all kinds of issues. The biggest problem they have is that they committed a cardinal sin, the unforgivable crime of changing characters that people already liked. They had the gall to give Wilson Fisk a heart and introduce a character who can go toe-to-toe with Matt Murdock. Not win, mind you, just not immediately lose. And don't get me wrong, the show is far from perfect, but it's nowhere near as bad as the internet would have you believe. There are storytelling issues as well. The pacing is off, the direction is strange, it often feels like a student film shot on an old Canon Rebel. My biggest issue with it is honestly that it doesn't take a big enough swing. Let me see an entire fucking fight scene in silence. Let me see thugs sneak up behind her and use her disability against her. Then show her beat the ever-living shit out of them after that because she's competent and skilled enough to be prepared for such an attack. And the fight scenes we got in this are good. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad, they're just not very character specific. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but not as much as I would like. For example, one guy catches Matt Murdock off guard by running across a room and tackling him from the side. But like, he can't see and he can hear everything in the room. Wouldn't he just step out of the way and let the guy tackle the ground? I mean, he can definitely hear that guy coming, so why does he just get hit? The daredevil is in the details, as they say, and a lot of the little stuff is what's missing here. There's no attention to detail. It doesn't look like the characters' traits, past actions, or relationships were taken into any consideration when writing this script. Maya is deaf until she isn't. She's given an optical ASL translator so she can tell what everyone is saying to her. The Kingpin is a downhearted father desperately seeking the approval of his adopted daughter, and not not the ruthless and calculated murderer that we've seen in the past. Speaking of the Kingpin, it is interesting that people are accusing Maya of being overpowered and impossible to kill when Wilson Fisk literally took a bullet to the face and came back. Nobody ever batted an eyelash when Matt Murdock would take out 100 thugs at once, but Maya, who has been naturally adept at martial arts since she was a child, continued to train into adulthood and then received personal guidance from one of the top mob bosses in the entire world. Just shouldn't? What? Anyway, I'm going to say something that people don't usually like to hear in a review of a Marvel series, but it's the truth. The show is fine. It's not great, it's not horrible, it's just there. Honestly, most of it is pretty good. The first few episodes set up some interesting plot points, the fight scenes are engaging, the relationships between the characters are interesting. It just doesn't stick the landing. But what do you think about Echo? Am I wrong? Is it too woke? Is Marvel paying me to give it a mediocre review? Let me know in the comments. If you like videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe below, and check out our podcast, The Media Lunch Break, wherever you listen to podcasts. You might like either of these videos, because that's what YouTube thinks. So enjoy that, and thanks for watching.